I'm going to tell you a story. This story consists of two girls who share the same name, Binta. The only difference in their lives is how it turned out. One used the people around her and had to sneak to school every day, while the other is married to a 67-year-old man. She is 14. Why is it that this is a reality for so many women in Africa? This is a topic that is not discussed as often as it should be. And why would it? People don't get involved unless it could affect them, right? I decided to talk with some students at Cheltenham High School to see what they knew about the subject and target their feelings about it. This is what they had to say. 25 million children will never go to school. And there are 4 million more girls than boys who can't get an education. Are you allowed or are you expected to go to school every day?
Yes, I'm expected and I'm allowed to, and I want to because I want to get an education.
I like school. I like learning. I like my classes. I like my people around me. So
I'm allowed to go to school every day, and I am expected to go every day. That may not be the truth, but I'm expected to.
It's interesting to see, statistically, how many Americans are unmotivated to go to school. Why do you attend school every day?
I attend school every day because I know that with the goals that I want to have for myself, I have to complete school.
I attend it because one is nothing else really to do. Well, that's not one. One is because I want to get an education. But two, because it literally is nothing else to do as a child. Is like this world isn't really for children. That's why you go to school. And three, because like in the past, a lot of people didn't have an education, so I might as well, use my time wisely.
Well, to get an education and to learn new stuff, because to acquire new knowledge, I can't just stay in my house and learn new stuff.
How does your family feel about you going to school?
it's a must, especially since I'm first generation. I have to go to school. Like, there's no stopping at just high school. Like, I need to further my education until I can't, go anymore, which is kind of impossible. So, like, I'll be in school, like, my whole life, according to my family.
I attend school every day, or as much as I do, to get my education and to pass high school. College is really where I feel like it matters.
They're very supportive, and it's like I said, it's expected of me to go to school. It's more of a requirement. It's not really, it's just, there's no really feeling to it.
How does your family feel about you going to school as a female?
They don't, me being female, it definitely adds to it, especially with what I want to do. I want to be a doctor. So I'll be like the first female doctor in my family, and that's like a really big thing for my family. And it's pretty empowering for, the younger generations, because majority of my family is not college educated, and they went to high school and they did some in college, but like me being, the one of the only females in my family that have such high goals, it's, a huge deal.
I mean, they never really thought nothing of it other than my tech experience where I'm the only female in my class. But other than that, I'm just fine.
They're very proud because, the stereotype is like male are supposed to like be the the one that's like ahead, and like females are not, like they're overlooked, but like definitely like proud, like yeah.
As a female, it's really important for me to go to school because a lot, like, even though like it's discrimination everywhere, like being a female, you also get discriminated against because you're seen as the weaker sex, which is clearly not true. So you just gotta let them know, like, it's not like that.
Most Americans are blind to this issue. They are not being educated or enlightened about it. Again, unless there is a possibility that it will affect them. What do you know about the education system in Africa and its outlook on women?
To be quite honest, I don't really know a lot about the education.
I know that not a lot of kids get to go to school, but I don't know really into detail anything.
I don't know a lot. I know that they don't get that much of an education compared to people in America. So yeah.
I know that females have a hard time going. I know there isn't a lot of schools for African females, but that's really about it. I don't really know that much when it comes to the African education system.
Not very good. Like not like you can't compare it. Like some like in private school. I mean, private school are like better than public schools there. So here and there, like that's like a huge gap between like private and like a public school. I went to a private school in Africa, so much better than a public school. Public school is like trash. Like you can't like the public school here are so 10 times better.
Educated girls are more likely to marry later and have fewer children. For example, women in Mali with a secondary school education or higher have an average of 3 children, while those with no education have an average of 7. Educated girls are also less vulnerable to sexual exploitation and to sexually transmitted disease. If all women had a primary education, there would be 1.7 million fewer malnourished children. If you had the chance to go to school or stay home and raise a family, which would you choose and why?
I would definitely go to school any day over raising a family. That's just not in me. And you can only raise a family for, so long. Like they're gonna grow up, they're gonna get old, they're gonna die, which is kind of morbid, but it's just like, I would definitely go to school. I would definitely get my education, my degree first before I settle down to raise a family.
In this day and age, I don't know. I honestly, in this day and age, I don't really have much of a choice. I have to go to college and get an education because the kids that I do want or the family and the life that I do want, I won't be able to support without college. So I think smartly, you should put one before the other.
I would definitely stay in school. Depends on my financial situation. If I need to go to school, then I'll go to school. But if I have a family to take care of, I feel like it depends on my situation, to be honest. Like, if I have a family, then of course I'm going to take care of my family. But I can do that while also going to school. Like, that doesn't yeah.
A child whose mother can read is 50% more likely to survive past the age of 5. If you were forced to stay home / raise a family, how would you feel and what would your initial reaction be?
I would feel like I'm limiting myself because I know what I'm capable of. I know that I'm smart, I catch on to things. Even if I didn't have a great education, I know the basics and I can learn more. And I would feel like people aren't letting me take advantage of what I know I can do.
I would be very upset because that's not what I want to do. I don't want to have family for at least a decade from now. So if I was to today just drop everything and go raise a family, I would not be the happiest person.
I would be miserable. I would be extremely miserable. I can't even fathom the thought of being forced to marry someone and being forced to stay home and not further my education. I can't imagine living like that. I can't imagine living like that.
I don't want to bash anybody's religion, but I feel as though if you have a culture or religion when they're telling you that you shouldn't do something and it's not harming you and it's actually going to help you, you kind of got to look at that why would somebody not want something from you that's good? Because if you think about it, that's your life. So why would somebody not want you to fulfill your life?
I'm not here to slander anybody's religion, but from me looking into the situation, not because I'm not in that situation, for me looking into the situation, I think it's really outright wrong. I feel like if a woman wants to go out and be, by herself and go to school for whatever, she can go do that. I don't think that she should have to obey any man. I think that she should obey what she thinks in her heart and her mind and don't have to obey nothing saying you have to, obey this man, clean and cater to him for the rest of your life, and then when you die, it's whatever. Like, I think that's just outrageous, but it's not my religion, so.
I don't know a lot about the Muslim religion, but I do know how women are viewed in the Muslim religion and the role they play in the Muslim religion. Like I said, I believe everyone, has should have control over their lives. And I doubt that, every female has a problem with being a source of income. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know there's probably some people out there who may not mind that kind of, submissive role. I mean, that puts a bad connotation on it. But who may not mind that role in the religion, But from an outside looking in, being an African American woman and being taught that it was okay to be liberated, I don't like it, I feel like my opinion would be different, and if I was Muslim, and I was taught that that was my duty to God and my husband. But seeing that I am not Muslim and I'm an American, and Americans, have the right to be liberated, I still don't, it doesn't change my view on it,
Definitely, like some, especially in the northern part of like my country, because I'm from Nigeria, like they're forced into like teen marriages, and like they don't really get that like experience. Like it's like a different, like, I don't know how to say it, but like it happens in where I live too in Nigeria, but like, there is like the educated part and like the like non-educated part, and that happens a lot, like with people that like when they're teenagers they have to like marry instead of going to school, like, yeah.
The fact that women are viewed as just a source of income and not valuable human beings is really bothering me. I don't like that. That's not how you treat somebody, And I feel like that's terrible. Like, I feel like everybody has a right, to their own life. And if you don't want to be married and lay down and have kids and be someone's source of income, like looked at as just like money, I don't think you should do that.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Because it's just, if you really think about it, like, the world is really crazy. You expect me not to do what I want to do. If I want to go, go for a run, or if I want to go play basketball or something like that, I can't do that because it's going to mess up my skin. Not for me, not because, I like my skin, but because you want me to have kids with you. I'm 13, 14. I'm playing with Barbie dolls. I'm not playing with my own babies.
I think that's bad, just because, like, if you didn't like slavery, that's kind of like not to the extreme, but in some way, because you're being forced to do something you don't want to do. No child wants to go live with a 60-year-old man that they can call their grandfather. That's weird. Like, that's not appropriate to me at all, especially because it's not like it is their grandfather. That's somebody they call their husband. So the grown man is going to want husband, like, fulfillment. He's going to want the wife to do certain things, and at a certain age that's not appropriate, especially that huge age gap. That's not appropriate.
So to that, I feel as though, no one should have to sell another human being to survive. If it is truly for survival and not just greed, it's not just, I want an extra piece of bread on my table, then that's truly a problem. That's a problem that we in the world need to fix. And that makes me actually very uncomfortable that families are forced to train and sell their daughters in order to keep their daughters and their other sons and daughters and themselves alive. And it's gross.
I'm not in that circumstance, but if I was, I would try to find any other way to make some sort of income, some sort of something, because that it for really shouldn't even be an option to marry. That shouldn't be an option at 14 and 13 years old. Who's thinking about getting married? I mean, I know you have your dream weddings, but you really aren't thinking like, oh wait, next week I'm really getting married. You shouldn't be thinking like that at 13 or 14. People really have to go through that just to get some money into their house. When there's people out here who have so much money that they just throw it up in the air, they just do whatever they want with it. And people are out here having sex at 13 or 14 years old, having kids at 13 or 14 years old because they don't have no money. I feel like that shouldn't ever be the case. Like, they need to figure out a way to get money to the people who need it more than anything. Like, I want, like, really, like, would you think of one wealthy person who would have sex and have a whole family at 13 or 14 years old and be fine with it? That's not something you really think of reality, because when I was growing up, I was always told 13 or 14 years old, you're playing with Barbie dolls, you're going to school, getting your education because you need to grow up and continue your education, do what you want to do. Then after you get a job and you're financially stable and everything, then you go and think about having a husband and kids. You can't mess that whole cycle up. And the fact that people are forcing kids to have sex with grown men is just it's unsettling. Very unsettling.
This is an issue that has been prevalent and will continue to be prevalent unless more people are aware of it. We need to realize that having an education is something that girls in difficult situations need in order to get out. Take advantage.
Allah rokkam ko jennomi jude balde malede kame arsugaje mi diwo mi joroy leydi amen lele mi joroy leydi amen sare doya